Hey guys, I'm just giving it a couple seconds to notify everyone that I'm live, and then I'm going to start the video and hopefully not make it too long today. But I have a really important topic that I wanted to discuss. I'm sorry, I was outside cleaning my windows, and so I'm just wearing like a t-shirt. My hair's crazy. But this is the only time I have to make this video because I have consults right after this. But I wanted to talk about an important topic, like I said, about pharmaceutical companies. I get so many DMs on Instagram, people sending me screenshots and photos and memes and things about pharmaceutical companies purchasing supplement brands and why we shouldn't be supporting them or why it's bad. I wanted to make a video to really explain things from like I guess like an unbiased perspective, but also from an informed perspective, I guess. So I'm hoping that I'll answer some of your questions today, maybe bring you a little bit of insight, some peace of mind, a little bit of hope. Yeah, so let me know if you guys have any questions as I go through this video. I will be saving the replay and posting it at some point, but I'm just gonna start. So the brand, there's a lot of brands out there. So there's Garden of Life and um, Genestra and Pure Encapsulations and Douglas Labs and just so many supplement brands out there that over time that started small and then over time were acquired by Nestle or some kind of like big pharmaceutical company, and they essentially bought out the little guys. This actually is not new news, regardless what people think. These companies were purchased years and years and years ago, and they have been kind of bought out by the top companies. So you have like the Coca-Cola and Nestle and all these massive, massive corporations that have completely bought out hundreds of small baby companies that have been performing well that they kind of acquired and just put under them. So that's what I'm talking about today. There are so many companies. I have not researched every single one to see every single one that has ever been bought out by a big company, but the ones I'm talking about today are the most common ones that we know about, like Garden of Life, again, Genestra, things like that. So is this a problem that these supplement companies, these natural companies, have been purchased or bought out by these big companies that we don't like Nestle or, again, pharmaceutical companies and things like that? So I'm going to share with you a perspective that most people probably don't have. But hear me through, hear me out. And I'm hoping by the end of this, you guys will have a lot more, again, insight, peace of mind, and such. I do not think it is a concern that they have been bought out by pharmaceutical companies. And if you guys know me, which I'm sure a lot of you have been following me long enough to know, I am not for big pharma and I am not for these big companies. Quite against them most of the time. The reason why I'm saying it's not a concern is for a couple things. So these companies out there, Nestle, I'll just make you start with Nestle. These companies out there they're 100% for profit. Okay, so Nestle they make formula, they have a million different companies under them, water, etc. Their whole goal, buying out companies, is they are dominating. They want to make as much money from every single market as possible. Doesn't matter if it's holistic and natural or baby stuff or pharmacy. It doesn't matter for them. They want to have their toes or hands in every single industry because they want all of that money. I mean, most people today are like that. Most of us want to earn as much as we can, and we want to appeal to as large of an audience as we can. The reason why I'm saying it's not a concern is because a couple things. And I think a lot of people's panic as soon as they find out that, oh my gosh, this supplement company that I have been buying from for a while is owned by Nestle or one of these large companies, they panic. And I think the panic is coming from the fact that they think that they're lining the pockets of these horrible companies, which technically, yes, technically, but I'm going to get there. You are. But aside from lining the pockets, they are saying that they feel that they're supporting these companies and giving them the power to remove natural products from the market. So this is where it gets a little bit false, I guess, or maybe a little bit misled. And everything I'm saying here is opinions, but also based on like a lot of research that I've done. So there's so much to unpack. I'm going to try to do it quickly. If you have questions, leave them in the comments and I'll try to get to them at the end. There's the first side of things, which is people think that these pharmaceutical companies or these big Nestle companies and stuff are going to shut down all of our access to natural supplements. When you think about it though, why would they do that? And how can they do that? Okay, so there's two things, why and how. So let's start with the why. Why would they take a massive industry? So we picture holistic health as this tiny little niche, and we picture most people in the world to be unhealthy and not be for these natural companies. But we're picturing that within just North America. Most of us live in North America, or maybe Australia or something. But again, most of us are just thinking in a very small group. Holistic medicine has been around forever. It's been around way before pharmaceuticals. And natural supplements are so widely used, more than you can even imagine, which is a beautiful thing. There are some companies like India and China where natural supplements is mostly used for the entire population, way before pharmaceuticals come in. They always try to treat first with natural things, and then when that fails, then they move to, like a drug. So there are a lot of countries that are supporting this industry, and this industry has rapidly grown exponentially over the past 10 years, especially over the past 5, especially over the past 2.5, 3 years because of COVID. So this industry is much bigger than the little niche industry that most people are picturing it out to be. So people picture this tiny little niche industry, and then they're picturing this massive, big pharma or Nestle companies and stuff squashing the bug, squashing this little tiny company. But really, this little company, my hair is crazy, sorry. This little company is way bigger than they realize. And I'm gonna bring this all together, it'll make sense. It's way bigger than they realize. So you have this much bigger company, not a little one, not a company, sorry, much bigger industry, not a little one. And then you have this massive company. Why would this massive company, this brings us again to the why, not the how yet. Why would this massive company squash this massive, rapid growing industry? Most of the time, companies are purchasing out smaller companies if they think that they're a competition or a threat. They will acquire them for a couple of reasons. One, to squash them, so that they don't, take a tech company, for example, Facebook and all these companies will go and buy out these tiny little startup tech companies if they think they're going to turn into something. They'll either buy them out and say, oh my gosh, you're going to be huge. I want you under my corporation so we make the profit. Or two, you're a threat and I'm going to buy you and shut you down. Okay, so that's typically what's happening, and most companies will kind of do the same thing. When the company that's been acquired is really, really small, or the industry is really small, it'll probably get squashed or just kind of swept under the rug. When it's a bigger thing that they know this is going to be huge, this is going to be a massive moneymaker, they obtain it and they hold on to it, they invest in it, and they push it through because it can make them billions and billions of dollars. Think about this. People now who are, so take myself for example, I haven't gone to the doctors in, I don't know, years and years and years and years. We don't go to the doctors. There hasn't been a need for us. When something's wrong, we're not feeling well, we use holistic remedies to improve our health, and then we're fine. If holistic remedies are not available to me, I'm not turning to pharmaceuticals. So for example, if I have a headache and I will go and take magnesium or something calming, a calming holistic remedy, if that's not available to me, I will not be turning to a Tylenol. That's just me, it's how I am. Most people who are using natural remedies are the same way. They're using natural remedies because they don't want something artificial put into their body. They don't want a drug. Now, that's not to say if I have to go in for a surgery, I'm not going to take the anesthetic. Of course I will. But in general, day to day, when you're treating yourself at home or trying to reverse your health condition, if you are holistic, if you're using natural remedies, you're using them for a reason, you are not going to be just suddenly switching to pharmaceuticals because they are not the same. They're not interchangeable. They have completely different purposes. So they know that these big companies who are purchasing out these natural brands, they know 100% that the people who are using natural supplements are not the same people that will then switch to a pharmaceutical if a natural remedy is not available. Because again, they do completely different things, completely different things. So they essentially will be taking a massive $1 million, $1 billion, who knows how big this industry is, and throwing throwing money down the toilet if they were to just squash it. They have acquired this industry. It is rapidly growing, and they know that these individuals who are like us, who are using natural remedies, are not going to suddenly just switch to going to the pharmacy every time we have a problem and taking a Benadryl or a Tylenol, right? It's not the same people. Some do. Some use both, and that's fine, but majority of people who are really into this industry are not doing that. I haven't stepped foot in a pharmacy in over 10 years. Probably even longer, and I don't plan to, again, unless there's like a major reason for me to do it. But that is not because there's no holistic remedies available. It's because the drug has something that the holistic remedy can't offer, and that's why. And vice versa. So if you're taking a holistic remedy, it does something that the drug can't offer. It does something completely different. If that's not available, you're not turning to something that's not going to work for you. So imagine if you really want to paint your walls blue, and there's no paint available. You're not going to just start taking a plaster and spreading plaster on your walls with a little bit of blue food coloring and hoping that will do the trick, right? It's like, it's completely different. It's not even the same thing. It's not meant at all for the same thing. If paint's not available, you're not buying plaster. You're just not painting your walls, right? So that's what I'm getting at. Why would they squash an industry that is so big, so rapidly growing? It's lining their pockets beautifully. The reason why they are purchasing these companies, in my opinion, and just based on some common sense research, etc., is because they see that it's a massive market that they're missing out on. These natural remedies, herbs, homeopathics, nutritional supplements, this is a massive market, and doctors are even recommending, you come in, even your doctor will say, you probably need vitamin C, or you need this, go purchase a natural supplement. They're used not just by holistic practitioners. Doctors suggest minerals, vitamins, and things as well. So they're taking this industry that they are missing out on because all they do is sell pharmaceuticals, and they're saying, wait, there's millions and millions and millions, maybe billions of people using natural remedies. If you take India, China, these other countries into account, there's potentially billions of people using natural remedies. That is a whole target market we're missing out on. So we're huge, we're big, we'll buy out these supplement companies for a great price. So how can they turn us down? And we're going to start making the money off these people. So now we have the natural and we've got the pharmaceutical side of things. We are at the top. We are making all the money. That's their why, in my opinion. They're not going to be squashing these companies. Now, I'm going to come back to this point in a minute. I want to go to the how really quick. How would they do it? So just think about this. Maybe this isn't as apparent to a lot of you if you're not like a practitioner, or you're not like dealing with like natural things every single day. But I can tell you from a practitioner side of things, almost every single day, I'm being reached out by a new supplement company. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of supplement brands and new ones forming each time that kind of all do the same thing. They're all either making herbs, or they're making collagens and bone broths, or they're making nutritional supplements, or new homeopathic companies on the rise. There's always new companies forming. So even if Big Pharma or Nestle, or these companies who've purchased something like Garden of Life or any of these major brands that have honestly phenomenal supplements, which I'll get to as well, even if they have purchased these companies and they completely squash them and shut them down, which again, I don't believe they would. That would be, it just wouldn't make sense. But even if they did, and now those brands are gone, there are so many brands still on the market that you can purchase from because new ones are continuously forming. In terms of, and I had this a message from a few people kind of panicking in my Instagram that they're going to completely prevent us from ever being able to buy natural supplements on our own, just like how they kind of banned N-acetylcysteine in the US. It's not like that. Okay, so think about how many natural remedies there are in the market. Think about how long they've been around, and think about how many people and practitioners are using them, and all of that. The thing is, you can't really patent like an herb. or something like that. You can patent a formula, so you can patent a drug because it's a unique formulation of a bunch of hundreds of different ingredients in one thing, but you can't patent an herb or a homeopathic or things like that, which means these pharmaceutical companies don't have control over the natural substance. They don't own it. Even if they buy out these companies, if Big Pharma buys out, say, Genestra, which they have, and they now own Genestra's N-acetylcysteine, they don't own N-acetylcysteine. They own Genestra, which sells N-acetylcysteine, right? So even if they say, Genestra, you are not selling N-acetylcysteine anymore, there's so many other companies that are. You can't patent these products or these ingredients. Now, throughout history, yes, homeopathics have been banned throughout the years. Natural and herbal remedies and things have been kind of taken hits over the years, but they always come back, because at the end of the day, you can't ban nature, right? And I'm gonna come back to this. I'm just have a bunch of points I want to get out and in a short time, because I have consult soon. So you can't ban nature, and there's always these forces. Again, on our end, you might not see this if you're not a practitioner, but on our end, like our group of homeopaths, our homeopath board, our nutritionist board, we are constantly fighting for keeping our remedies alive and keeping things on the market and keeping things available. We're constantly, like, the homeopath summit just did a trip to Washington, DC, and there's so many things going on that people don't see on the outside, but inside it is a constant battle. And it's not because these big companies are completely trying to wipe out natural medicine. It is individual doctors, okay, not pharmaceutical companies or Nestle or Coca-Cola. It's literally doctors who are saying, these aren't safe, because there's a competition. People are leaving their doctor's office and withdrawing themselves as patients to switch to a natural practitioner. And they tell their doctors, I would no longer like to be a patient, I have a naturopath. It's doctors who are submitting complaints to whether it's FDA or Health Canada or whoever, trying to get remedies off the market because they're feeling really salty about losing patients. So at the end of the day, that's the biggest threat to us, is these doctors who are complaining. And obviously FDA, Health Canada love doctors, and they're not huge fans of natural companies. I mean, it's just how it goes. So that's what the biggest threat is. It's not these huge companies trying to shut down a money-making market. No. They're actually trying to profit off of it. It's these doctors who, client comes in or a patient comes in and says, I have this problem. The doctor says, here's a prescription for an antibiotic, or here's a prescription for a steroid cream. And then the patient says, actually, you know what? I'm not taking that prescription. I am going to go use a natural remedy. That doctor's not making his commission off of that prescription. And so doctors are feeling their pockets are not being as lined. And now a lot of doctors are incredible, and they're not just in it for the money. But the ones who are used to making a lot of money and are noticing that there's a lot of patients either just not purchasing their prescriptions that they're giving, or they're just leaving them for a natural doctor, they're the ones who are the threat. They're the ones who are really upset and angry about this and are, I guess, jealous. You wouldn't believe how many doctors we have reaching out constantly to homeopath boards and things like that, trying to get things shut down or slow us down or prevent us from practicing in a certain way. It's absolutely ridiculous. And again, it's not coming from big pharma at all. It is coming from doctors, which is really sad to see, because I think it's a beautiful way to work together. I think there's a purpose for both holistic and allopathic medicine. You need both. Obviously, you want to try to do holistic first because it's natural, but there's a time and a place for allopathic. And I think it's just kind of crazy that a lot of doctors out there are trying to just dominate and not allow people to have a choice. So that's what's going on here. So that's the how, that's the why. These big companies are not going to be able to just wipe supplements off the market. Now, even in the US, where FDA technically banned N-acetylcysteine, you can still buy it everywhere legally. Okay, so if you want N-acetylcysteine, hop on Pure Market and purchase N-acetylcysteine. Like, you can get it everywhere. It's still very available. So it's not like banned in the sense that if you have it, you're in trouble or you can't buy it. Like, you can very easily get N-acetylcysteine in the US. So yes, it's frustrating that there's these constant attacks, and FDA and all these, big shots are trying to reduce people's ability to purchase these incredible supplements. But at the end of the day, it's way harder than people realize. And this is a rapid growing market, and it's bringing advocates along with this growing market. So now more and more people who are loving natural remedies, it's just growing, and they're all coming together to fight the big guys. So that's the hope side of things. Honestly, I am not stressed at all about big pharma. They can literally buy out every supplement company. It would not affect me. They're already making so much money. And as much as I do not stand for big pharma, they're already making so much money. You can't stop them. Okay. They're making money. They have all these ways to make money. These crazy companies like Monsanto and all of that, they're making money whether we like it or not. So at the end of the day, if they're trying to make money off of natural supplements, I mean, they're already loaded. So what? We're still able to access our incredible supplements, and they're getting money off of it, sure. But if they're willing to make money off of natural supplements and see how well these natural supplement companies are doing, it might, get them to start saying, well, hey, maybe our pharmacies are going to start carrying a lot more actual natural brands. And maybe it's not going to just be niche health food stores where you can find this stuff. Maybe it's going to be more readily available because it's a booming market. It's a booming market. Just like, if you come up with a new product and it does phenomenal, you're going to start off in a couple small stores. If it flies off the shelves and is doing well, you're going to expand and start adding it to more stores and doing things like that. So that's hopefully where I'm picturing, like 10 years from now, these natural remedies will be in grocery stores, and not the crappy, like the Jamieson brand, like legit good quality supplements will be everywhere. It's a massive market. It is booming. Again, you might not see it from your side where you're just one person and you're just hopping on Amazon or somewhere and buying a couple supplements, but on our practitioner side, it is rapidly growing. And now with like COVID and things coming out, it's been even more growing even more rapid. Sorry, my brain is everywhere. I'm just going to check the comments really quick before I continue on. So Goddess 110 says Garden of Life was bought out by Nestle. Yeah. And again, like I said, I don't know when a lot of you guys joined it. If you were here at the start, so what? They're just doing it because they want to make more money. It doesn't affect the brand. It doesn't affect anything like that. Garden of Life now has a lot more funding, and actually, like a lot of these supplement companies. So I'm going to actually just touch on really quick about Pure Encapsulations and Genestra. These are two companies that I use for everybody in my practice, and I have been for many, 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 many years. These two companies, I cannot tell you how incredible they are. They are the only pharmaceutical grade supplement companies on the market. Stick with me for a minute. Pharmaceutical, not because they're owned by a Nestle or some big company. No, they're pharmaceutical grade because they're the only company out there that actually does third-party testing on supplements. So say they're making an ashwagandha. They are going to go source ashwagandha. They then take it to their lab. They test it to make sure there's no impurities in it. It's the most incredible, highest pure supplements you can get is from these two companies. So they're testing to make sure that they are perfectly pure. They then send it for third-party testing. So they have the ashwagandha brand testing. They send it for third-party testing for purity at like a completely separate facility. So it's not run by them. It's completely separate, and they do not let the product get released if there's even a hint of lead or any kind of weird chemicals in the product. They then send it back to Genestra or Pure Encapsulations to produce the product. They then test again. The other thing that I love about Genestra and Pure Encapsulations is the reason why they're called pharmaceutical grade is because they do double-blind placebo studies on their products. They back up their products with journal articles, with research. They will do studies on every product that's released. They don't release anything without studies to make sure it's effective and safe. There are so many brands out there that will just slap a supplement together. They'll take ashwagandha and maca root, put it together and call it an adrenal supplement. They don't look into the potency that's needed. They're not testing the ashwagandha or these these herbs that are growing in the ground or anything for heavy metals or chemicals or contaminants or even mold. They're just buying some dried herbs, putting them in a capsule, putting a label on the bottle and selling it. There are so many companies doing this. Whereas Genestra, Pure Encapsulations, these ones, which yes, are owned by Nestle, as is Garden of Life, are actually doing pharmaceutical grade supplements. And this is why I'm using this brand. The ingredients are above and beyond, and the testing is so thorough. You know that if you're taking it, it's going to work. It's that simple. And it's going to be pure. One other thing I will say, like chlorella, for example, is one of the most toxic algae out there, or products out there that so many people take thinking that it's very healthy, and it is if it's the right one. Algae in general is a sponge that we take it in our body to soak up toxins. While it's growing in the ocean or farmed or wherever they're getting it from, it's soaking up toxins from that environment. So if you're not doing third-party testing to make sure there are zero contaminants, zero heavy metals, zero chemicals, zero mold, zero anything in the product, whatever is in that product, you are putting into your body when you take it. So that's like something that I'm like, it needs to be tested thoroughly, and most supplement companies that sell chlorella are not doing that. They just aren't. They might do one quick test on it and they say, yep, it's good enough. They're not doing third-party unbiased testing. They're not doing anything else on the product. And so these companies are selling these products that you're taking thinking you're helping yourself, and you're probably adding a lot more toxicity. So companies like Genestra, Pure Encapsulations, it doesn't matter who they're owned by. They are doing it right. And they actually, because they're owned by such big companies, have so much funding to be able to do this. Imagine a little company who wants to make a chlorella supplement, a brand new startup. They do not have money to do double-blind placebo studies and to do third-party testing and all this other stuff. No, they're going to source an ingredient, hope for the best, and slap it into a supplement until they can get really big. Having money, big money behind you, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where the money's coming from, in the sense that we have high quality products that are at our fingertips that we have access to. And the more we support these companies, the more we know that they'll be sticking around. If Big Pharma or Nestle or whoever's owning these companies are seeing that we bought out a freaking gold mine, excuse my language, they're going to keep putting money into it to push and make more and make more. They just want to make money off of everybody. They don't care who it is. It doesn't have to be a pharmaceutical product. They want to make money off of everybody. And so that was my point here, is you don't want to just boycott. I mean, you can if you absolutely want to, but my foot's going numb. You don't want to just say, I'm boycotting Garden of Life, or I'm boycotting Soroil, Genestra, Pure Encapsulations just because they're owned by Nestle. That to me would be the biggest and saddest mistake, because you're literally saying, I'm turning down one of the only companies in the world who are actually high quality for something really cheap that might be putting toxins into my body just because I don't like who owns that company. Now, again, I'm the biggest, if you like just hear a conversation from me day to day, if you can be a fly on my wall, you will see how much I'm against Big Pharma and these companies, but they are not a threat to me in terms of what they've bought out. It doesn't even cross my mind. It doesn't affect me. I do not believe that they will be able to successfully wipe out the entire world of natural remedies or ban the entire world of natural remedies. And I do not believe that they would just squash natural remedies either, because like that they've bought out, like Garden of Life and stuff, because they're making so much money off of it. So that's the couple points. I don't know. Let me know if this makes sense, guys, or if I'm not making sense at all. So let me see here. So if there's a change, so for example, Sharon said the last Garden of Life powder I used was not quality. Nestle probably changed it. If there's a change coming, so remember guys, it's just picture like a pyramid. You've got your Big Pharma or Nestle or whoever's owning these companies at the top. And then they also own sub companies. There's like Coca-Cola and whatever. And then there's sub, and then there's our holistic companies. Okay. Garden of Life, Genestra, whoever. These companies, by the way, Garden of Life is not a pharmaceutical grade company. I don't know what kind of testing if they do third-party testing or anything. So to me, they're the equivalent to like other companies out there. So if you don't like their quality, just don't purchase from them. You want to purchase from companies that you know are like legit doing third-party testing and studies and stuff. But anyway, yeah, if you picture a pyramid, the guys at the top, there's CEOs and CEOs and CEOs and CEOs and managers, and like there's the guy at the top is not putting his input into a formula that Garden of Life is making. Okay, Garden of Life is going to have their own CEOs and they're going to have their own people saying, you know what, we're going to switch the formula because that ingredient's too expensive and we're not making enough profit, or we're going to switch the formula because we can't source that ingredient and we need to get this product out, or we're going to switch the formula because a lot of our people have been saying they don't like the taste of this product, so we're going to switch it out. So there's a lot that goes into making a supplement, and again, it's not, oh, Nestle bought it so they're going to make everything suck and make everything taste bad or not have quality. That's not it. They won't buy a company out to then lose money on it unless they're shutting it down, which they've owned this company for ever now. Okay, so it's not that, it's that Nestle guy at the top is not putting his little input into what's happening in each individual company's product line. That completely comes from whoever's running that company. And I can tell you right now, like Genestra pure encapsulations, I don't buy Garden of Life much. Like I have other brands that I like, but Genestra pure encapsulations, since COVID started, there has been massive ingredient shortages because of the lockdowns. All the factories closed. Nobody was able to package or create stuff. So a huge back order came in and they literally couldn't source something simple like manganese, chlorella. Like most of the time you're buying something and you're like, I can't get this product anywhere. It's because the ingredient can't be sourced. And so because of that, Genestra and pure encapsulations, I'm only speaking for them because that's what I use. They had to reformulate a lot of their products because they are like, we can't get ashwagandha, we're not going to get it for 8 months. So either we don't sell this adrenal formula for 8 months and our clients can't get their hands on it, or we're going to reformulate it with a temporary new reformulation until we can get access to it. So that could have also, Sharon, been what was happening with Garden of Life product that you tried. I'm not sure. Again, I don't really buy from them. But if you're trying something and you're like, I don't like the taste of this or something, it could have been reformulated, not because of Nestle, but because they couldn't source an ingredient, or because their input from their consumers, their customers, wanted something different, or maybe people were like, we don't want this ingredient because we don't like it, or who knows. There's always reasons why there's changes, but I always think it's a good idea to reach out to companies and ask, are you doing third-party testing, not on the full product, on every individual ingredient, then putting it together so you know that every ingredient has no contamination. So find out from them if they're doing that. Quality has diminished since Nestle bought Garden of Life. Such a shame. Yeah, I never used Garden of Life, even like way in the past. Nestle's owned them for way longer than people realize, but I haven't really used them ever. Not because I don't like the company, but because I just have companies that I love, for protein powders and things like that. Supplements, go pharmaceutical grade. So you know that they're doing double-blind studies, that they're testing all the ingredients. So pure encapsulations, Genestra, you just can't beat them. Yeah, so the government definitely does control supplements, and it's FDA, it's Health Canada. They are the biggest issue here. Again, it has not much to do with Nestle or anybody else. It is government. It is government wanting control. If you are going holistically, if you have a health condition, you're treating it or addressing it holistically, and you do not need to step foot in a hospital because you recover, the government's not making money. Okay, these companies are not making money. These doctors are not making money. So they make money off of you being sick, off of you eating McDonald's and having a really junky, unhealthy lifestyle, and then needing to go to the hospital and sitting in the hospital for a month while you're getting all these treatments and therapies to try to reverse all of this disease. That's how the government makes their money. So absolutely, holistic health and natural remedies is a threat to the government. It's a threat to doctors, to anybody who's not in the holistic industry, for sure. But I see like the top guys as seeing that it's a threat and saying we're missing out on billions of dollars, and so let's also acquire that so we can make money off of them too. But the government, though, absolutely, and their behavior is disgusting, and I think that the fact that they're not making holistic healthcare as available, they're not, there's a lot of money poured into these doctors and hospitals and things like that, and healthcare if you want to go the regular route. But as soon as you try to do something holistic, you're paying out of pocket. There's no government subsidization. There's nothing. The government could easily make money off of holistic remedies. They could subsidize it. They could, make it mainstream, and they're not, because they just want all the power and control. They want their population, in my opinion, to stay sick, to rely on them, and that's how they control us. So absolutely, I'm right there with you with the government, been controlling supplements and things like that. Let me see. Yeah, and Nestle Food's disgusting. I haven't bought Nestle product like ever. It's their formulas, even their water bottle, everything. Like, I just do not stand for Nestle at all. But again, them acquiring supplement company, when you look at like the supplement company, it's just like, again, it's like a pyramid. Nestle's at the top, and there's so many sub companies. So Nestle at the top is not putting their toes into a formula that Pure Encapsulations is making. It's their scientists, it's their CEOs, it's their everything. And the studies are there, and the information. Like, if there's a product that you want, you say, I want to see like your testing by a third party. So nothing to do with Nestle, nothing to do with Pure Encapsulations. It's a third party lab that does their own testing, and they send you the results. Everything's very transparent, so it's amazing. And the amount of like education and information around the products are great. And then same with like Unda, it's also owned by them, but Unda's the top, like, most pure homeopathic company. I don't have time to get into it in this video. I should make another one. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how incredible this homeopathic company is. And there's Boyrin, any other homeopathic company you can think of out there is just horrible quality compared to Unda. Unda is incredible. They're based out of Germany. What they do is like mind-blowing, and I'll have to make another video on how they actually create their homeopathics and making sure that they're completely pure. It's incredible. It's like mind-blowing. But again, it's owned by Nestle, and they've been incredible way before Nestle. They're incredible now. They've been owned by Nestle for so long. They're still doing their own thing. They have their own homeopaths and scientists testing products and all that. So it's still awesome company. And again, I don't think that you guys have to worry about these big companies squashing the little guys. We're not little. This industry is massive. It's very, very, very massive. It would not be an easy thing for them or a smart move on their part to do that. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. This is like almost 40 minutes. I have so much work to do today. I got a lot of consults today, so I got to get going and get dressed and do all that stuff. But I hope that this gave you a little bit of hope. I think our world is just, there's so much negativity to focus on between the governments and everything, politics. I'm not going to go into that in this video. There's so much to dwell on negatively, and like it's affected me so much just seeing what's been going on politically and everything the past couple of years. Like, I could not believe how our world is turning out. So there's so much negative. Just don't add this to the negativity. This is like, people keep coming up with like this information, and kind of just turning it into something that it isn't. And also a lot of people are like shocked. Like, I can't tell you again how many messages I get daily. People are like, oh my gosh, did you know that Genestra and Pure Encapsulations is owned by Nestle? It's like, yeah, they've been owned from them for many, many years now. Like, this is old news. And there's always going to be something that can stress you out and make you feel frustrated or make you worry. Just have that peace knowing that this is a massive, you're not alone. Like, there are so many people buying holistic products, way more than we realize. So many. It's a massive industry. It's not one that can be shut down. People can try, and again, it's not your Nestle or your pharmaceutical companies mainly, it is doctors. I can't tell you how many doctors, just on our end, we see it all because we're the practitioners, try to shut down these brands, these companies, our ability to use these remedies and to practice freely. It's doctors. It purely is doctors and the government. It's really sad. So again, that's why I'm not stressed out. I don't care who owns a company. I don't care what the company name is, what their product is. I look for purity and quality. And if that happens to be owned by Nestle, Nestle's making money off of everybody and everything. At some point, I wouldn't be surprised in 10 years if they own all of the grocery stores you shop at and everything else as well. Like, at some point you have to look and say, I can try to boycott something, but I guarantee there's one thing that you're buying that's Nestle owns. It's a company that Nestle owns. It can be a natural product and you can be buying it. It can be a shampoo company that you're buying that's natural and Nestle probably owns it. So you just have to look and say, at some point, like, I got to ease off of stressing about boycotting everything because it's owned by a big company. There's a few huge companies in the world at the top and they are going to own everything or the majority of things. And my issue is when you step outside, these companies like Nestle and stuff are buying the best of the best. So they're buying the best supplement companies, hence why they've acquired like Genestra Pure Encapsulations, Unda. They're not going to go and buy this no-name holistic like new Ayurvedic company because they don't have sales. They're not making a lot of money. So if you are completely boycotting all of the holistic companies that are owned by, unfortunately, pharmaceutical companies or Nestle, these companies we don't like, you're pretty much saying, I'm going to turn down the proper holistic supplements that I need and not buy them just because I don't like who owns them. And that's, you can do that. You can choose absolutely where you want to spend your money. But if you're kind of going outside to those couple little holistic companies that are starting up, that are not doing the third-party testing, that are not studying to make sure that the milligram that they're adding into their products is actually effective or things like that, it could be either harming you or just not being effective for you. So I would say, don't look at the top of the pyramid. It doesn't matter. They're just buying these companies because they also want to make money off of it. That's what they do. And eventually they're owning everything. They probably own the toilet paper company you're buying. They probably own the paper towel company you're buying, et cetera, et cetera. So if you actually look at what Nestle owns, like when I looked at it, I was like, wow, I buy like half of these things. They own a lot of natural things. So you can again be buying like my green paper towel and it's owned by them. Like, you don't know. So I just don't look at who owns at the top. At that point, you're like, they own everything. They're making money off of everybody. If you step foot into a coffee shop with like a generic one, like a Starbucks, like everybody's owned by everybody. So again, I stay on the bottom and I look for quality and I put my money into that company so that whoever owns that company sees that they're doing well. Let's keep putting money and building up this company. So that's all. Hopefully, again, that brings you some hope, some peace, a little bit of peace of mind with everything else that's going on. I will save this for you guys, but I'm going to sign off. I hope you have an awesome day. Feel free to post in the comments once I post this video. Share your opinions. I'd love to hear them all. Everyone can have their own opinions. That's what's beautiful about this. If you are still like, nope, I'm not supporting these companies, that's okay. Absolutely. But just want to give you a different perspective than just like the standard on this. Anyways, have a wonderful day and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.